Like Weird Al
Well,
then?
we're talking about albums by Bill Cosby,
Oh.
George Carlin, um,
Oh,
Cheech and
actually stand-up
Chong.
yeah,
comedy. Okay,
yes,
Yeah.
okay.
stand-up comedy, yes.
Okay. All
Lots of
right.
good albums out there. Chris Rock, he had his one "Bring the Pain," and the HBO special to boot with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of these have they also did shows or little stand up things on HBO and such.
Yeah.
Except for oddly Cheech and Chong, I don't think they ever did a stand up one.
Well, I don't think so, no. But they did live performances, but those were kind of separate from the albums that they did there. I remember because Cheech and Chong were like one of the biggest shots in the when it came to high school humor there.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, me and my old buddy Dennis, we used to do our we did it our we tried recording our version of a Cheech and Chong skit. You remember the Chabornik skit there?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
No,
I do
Chabornik,
remember it.
yes, yes, the Chabornik, yes. What is that? No, no, look like dog shit. Does
Yeah,
it feel like dog shit? What feel? Does it feel like dog shit? Yeah, it feels like dog shit. Taste. What? Taste. Yeah. Does it taste like dog shit? Yeah, it tastes like dog shit. Good thing we don't step in it. Let's go.
yeah, yeah. We'll start with Cheech and Chong. Of course, there's the old famous Dave's.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's the old famous Dave's not here.
Absolutely. That's one of the big ones. I think that was their first album, I believe it was, if
It's
I
either the
remember.
first or the second. I don't remember which. But
No,
yeah,
no, but I
that
think
was
may have been the second one, Big Bamboo. That was the highlight. That was a big one of their career there.
yeah. They we can do some remembrances of some of the routines. Did you ever hear Cheech and Chong Flower?
Oh yeah, I saw the movies and stuff, and then like they had the
Oh man,
stand-up stuff. And,
classic.
of course, yeah.
My two favorite would have to be Up in Smoke, and especially the next movie, the year later there.
Yeah, and I remember the one where the Pope sketch where they went and talked to the Pope and told him that I forget exactly what the premise was, but
Mm.
for him to be whatever he had to be, that he had to make love to a beautiful woman.
Oh yeah, that was when.
Yeah,
But
and he says all these conditions and stuff, and then he ends
must
with,
be.
"But she's got to have the
But
bigger teats."
I know there. Yeah, I remember that one. That was a classic there. Yeah. Did you ever? Now you remember the next movie, the second one that came out in 1980 there?
Yeah.
I remember I was a big fan of that movie when I watched it on cable a year later after we
Well, then
first got
did
that.
did Sergeant Stadenko make an appearance in that movie too?
No, I don't know if he did or not, but I remember
Well, he's
he
big and
was
up
in
in
the first
smoke.
one. Yeah, he was the absolute there. Who, by the way, was played by Stacy Keach. By the way, there,
Yeah.
a well respected actor. And I remember when they showed next movie on syndicated TV, the massive amount of edits they had to make for
Oh
that
yeah.
version there.
Is it
Oh,
not worth
dude,
it?
I
Is it
know. It's like,
was
what the
it just the
fuck?
cuss words or like the
Cuss
honest
words,
stuff?
the references to weed. They
Oh
replaced
my
it with
god.
bag of diamonds. And in the end, it was like they were trying to film this playground park. And I said, we did it. And that came, oh, dude. It was all just thrown in at the last minute, man.
Yeah, totally different movie.
Way a totally different version of me and my old buddy Ben Bennett were talking about that. It's like, damn, they edited so much out of that flick there, but it was for a good reason there. They
Yeah.
did the same thing with the Animal House.
Yeah.
Instead of John Belushi saying, oh shit," when that horse got shot, it was like, holy cow, I don't believe it.
Yeah. But there was a lot of classic routines they did on their albums. Of course, there
Oh
was
yeah,
Sister Mary Elephant.
oh yeah, oh that was one of the best ones there. And the sequel with Sergeant Sinenko, that was,
Yeah.
gosh, man, that was one of the best ones there. All the characters. In fact, I think that's when we first saw Paul Rubens
Really?
when he
Could have
made
been.
his
Yeah.
debut. Yeah, he was. I believe he was in the second or third movie, if I remember. Um, I think it may have been the second movie. I'm not too sure, man. But that's when we first heard of Paul Rubens. I think but that been be prior to him becoming Pee Wee Herman at this point there.
Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to remember some of the other routines off the top
And
of my head on the album. Oh,
yeah,
Earache My Eye.
oh, classic tune from them. Classic, absolute classic. First heard that when I saw the Up in Smoke movie there. It's like, that was a badass jam, you know? And you know what? That's had to be. The thing after the tune starts is stopped, ripped off the after rip. You have to listen to the whole skit
Oh yeah,
completely to know what I'm talking about there.
yeah. That was unbelievable. That was great. And of course, there was Basketball
Absolutely great.
Jones.
Oh yeah, that's another one there. Bloated, a spoof of that 170 song there. I forgot who does it. Float on, float on. But instead of that beat, they turned it to bloat on, which had a bunch of guys belching back and forth, left and right.
Yeah,
It was about eating food, eating sushi, eating this, you name it. I remember there was albums like Big Bamboo, the Wet Eight album. There was also one called
Sleeping Beauty.
Let's Make a Dope Deal Again. That came out in 1980, just as well there.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden they decided, I guess, when the 80s started going towards a different direction in terms of, I guess the weed smoking was out, the cocaine was in for some of the yuppies out there. And that's when they decided to put it to a halt. I think the last record they actually did was one called Get Out of My Room. And that's when we had Born in East LA, the Bruce Springsteen parody, which few years later became a movie that was starred and directed by Cheech Marin himself. Thomas Chong, however, wanted to stick to the same old pod humor. The only time we had saw him was on those occasional appearances on That 70s Show there, and one Peter Frampton video back in '86 there.
yeah,
But Cheech Marin kind of really merged out as an actor. He started in From Dusk Till Dawn. He started in a couple other movies. He was co-host to the show Nash Bridges with Don Johnson in the '90s there.
Yes.
He really, and which by the way,
I remember Stone Cold Steve Austin made a couple appearances on that show.
yes, he did. Yes,
And Jeff Daniels, wasn't Jeff Daniels on there too?
I believe so. I never really. I was at work during that time when that show was being broadcast. I was working till 11, as I am now. So I believe that's probably definitely. They made a lot of appearances on that show. In fact, the USA Network recently, I guess they recently showed a Nash Bridges TV movie years later on down the line. Nash Bridges has a little whiter hair, goatee, and Cheech Marin's character, I don't know who, he has white hair just as well, as well as Tommy Chong. And Tom, when they got back together, started doing shows again. Man, I understand almost the venues that they played were almost sold out because now today, since marijuana acceptance has been on the rise for the many years there, I guess it's safe to say that the weed humor has made a comeback in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
The old classics, yeah.
yeah. I know that Tommy Chong basically played himself in that '70s show.
Oh,
he
yeah, I
did.
remember that. Yeah.
Yes, I remember in an interview with the People magazine, he said if you smoke pot and eat right, you will live forever.
Basically, like in this community, Tony is the Tommy Chong of the community.
Yeah, but
Think about it.
yeah, it's pretty much, yeah. You got a point there. The way he dresses, the way he looks. The only thing he doesn't do is say, "Hey, man." Hell, I remember Minnesota Vikings fan and his show. He had a character for a short while named Chong, which was actually one of their boys, Redneck, playing that part. And Cheech and Chong still good buddies to this very day. Good business partners and comedy partners just as well there.
Yeah, and that's basically albums that are still worth a listen to now, even though they're dated. They're not totally dated.
Not really dated. Not really dated. They still hold up to this day. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get into someone
Real
that
quick,
you know.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me give you my piece on that, and then till this day, but like Cheech and Chong, they're so much part of just
Culture. The high, I guess they're called the high on culture. That's what my dad used to call it there a couple times in the past.
Yeah, there's some of those people that their comedy basically never dies.
Yeah.
Which
Never gets tired, never gets old, timeless. You used to say timeless.
Yeah, which is another guy I want to talk about now is George Carlin.
George Carlin, and man, he was really up on. I guess he started out as a regular comedian, and I guess he reemerged in the '70s as a lot more vulgar language. And
Yeah.
during the last few years of his life, all the routines he was doing in his comedy skits were always about, politics, how the left is, how the right is, how.
Well, he
either
basically
liberals or
turned into a
conservatives.
crabby old man, but he's still funny.
Yeah, he was. How the corporations own you and you not owning the corporations. He often did skits about that a lot of times.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of his albums are classic gold even now.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, his HBO specials or
Well, absolutely good. Carlin at Carnegie Hall. That was one of our favorites.
yeah, I think there was like 15 or 20 of them. I don't remember. There was a
I'm
bunch
so
of them.
sorry.
He did
The
so many.
I was just gonna say about the Cheech and Chong thing. They're so much a part of what is the word? Just American. I don't want to say culture, but I guess in a way, just the whole, they're just very
Folklore.
popular and folklore. Yeah, just all that. They're just very popular. A lot of appearances and different shows or commercials. Just everyone knows who
Absolutely,
they
yeah.
are. So
Dancing with the Stars. I think Tommy Chong was on Dancing with the Stars
Wow.
Really? I didn't know about that. Got to look that up.
2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of not a show I follow much, but yeah, that would be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Got to definitely look into that, man. That's for sure there.
Yeah.
I know. In fact, I'll take a look at it right now on here. Blah,
I
blah,
know,
blah, blah.
'cause a lot of the staff at the place where I live, they love Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, I was looking at him right now. And apparently, maybe for the images to come up. And yep, he was on there. He was on that show. Looks pretty good for his age when you look at it there. Very good.
Oh, 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Time flew by.
Interesting. Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting. You remember that guy who did that the most interesting man commercials for that one Don Ellis beer?
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Chong kind of resembles him in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I used to like those
Some of these
commercials.
photos. Yeah, I did.
They make an absolutely absurd situation, and the guy was there.
Yep. And we don't see him no more. I don't know why.
I don't either. That was a pretty good campaign. Yeah, every once in
I
a while,
know.
they do a pretty good campaign that you kind of look forward to the commercials, or you, at least when you see them, you go like, almost clever.
My favorite still today remains the original Vanilla Coke commercial with Chaz Parabi. What's his last name pronounced? That actor. Oh, it talks like this, man. Your curiosity has come the best of you.
what?
Look up the Vanilla Coke commercial, 2001. You see what I'm talking about? That actor's name there.
I don't recall those off the top of my
Sound
head.
like the guy off of you sound like the guy off of what's that show? The Italian show.
I think so. Yeah. Sopranos.
Yeah, no, not the other one. I told you not to fucking do that, Tony. That
Okay. Chaz. Well, let me look his name up. Chaz Palminteri, I think his name. Palminteri. Minteri. He was also last time he was appeared was on a couple episodes of Law and Order Organized Crime with Christopher Meloni.
Mm.
Unfortunately, his character gets killed during the mid-season there. You know, but I remember those a bit. You definitely look up those video Coke commercials from 2001 when that product first came out. There, yep, pretty good actor there. He's an
Next
actor.
on the list.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think of memorable ads because most of the time we scan over them real quick.
We ignore them. We ignore them because some of those commercials were good, but the rest, needless to say, there. All right, so there's one person I want to get to. I had a lot of this gentleman's comedy albums, even though I don't really want to consider him a gentleman nowadays because of what he did.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, yeah. I had his earlier albums from the 1960s.
I used to absolutely love his material.
Absolutely, so
Now,
did I.
Do y'all still like support him and love him now, or do y'all believe in all the stuff that happened? Like, do y'all look at him differently, or?
Well,
I do. We look at him differently now because
Right.
I said this many times before. He could have sought help for this dark fetish that he had because you got to remember this is a man that was christened America's favorite dad. He preached it about seeking knowledge. He preached about going to colleges and furthering your education. He spoke out against the blacks in the inner cities, called each other the N-word, stealing Coca-Cola, quote unquote. He spoke out against a lot of things that were all wrong in society. But yet here he was, drugging all these different women,
Even women quaaludes and shit, for God's sake.
I know exactly, and taking advantage of them while they were unconscious.
And you believe that's all? You believe that's all true and everything? Like he really did that for real? That was a no cancel culture thing, or
all of the evidence seems to point that it was a real thing.
all right.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not going to personally judge him or anything of that nature, but it's I don't know.
It's a hard thing to talk about,
It is because we were never there when it happened. But apparently, according to Ken, when they did on one of those earlier shows of FMN, he did say that somehow Richard Pryor knew what was up.
Which is another guy that's worth talking about. He was good.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I had a couple of his albums, but back to Bill Cosby. The albums I had from him was Revenge, Wonderfulness. Bill Cosby is a very funny fellow, right? I started out as a child, and I later got albums from the used record store, like 200 Miles and a couple others there. Yep, yep. I had that as well there. I also had an album that was titled subtitled the Sports Album that came out on a different record label. Yeah, it was simply called Bill Cosby, but it was I also had another one called For Adults Only, which had no cuss words in it, by the way, and it was basically about subjects that were deemed towards adults but in a clean nature.
Yeah, that was a good album actually.
Yeah, it was absolutely. The best thing,
you know how like Kevin Hart, it's like almost not family friendly comedy, but kind of like the whole family type comedy in a way. Like, Kevin Hart's not really, he's kind of comparable to me to like a Bill Cosby, semi wholesome, but they don't really, I mean, I guess, what's his name cusses, Kevin Hart, but like it's that same style of comedy, like everyday life, marriage and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's man, it's hard for me to sit here and remember some of the Cosby routines. Chicken Heart was great.
Oh my gosh, a classic.
Tonsils.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
And I don't remember
the game of Buck.
Do Do what?
The game of Buck Buck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, no. You have to look for the album Revenge on YouTube if it's a bit on there. It's up
That's where you
to see
find
what
out
I'm
about
talking
Fat
about.
Albert.
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of the characters that he talked about on those earlier albums will later merge into the TV show, the animated TV show that they did in the 70s, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Old Red Harold, Mushmouth, Broody, Russell.
It's a shame that his troubles spoiled that show, 'cause that show was a great one for kids.
It was, yeah. They had a lot of lessons to word. Don't be a bully. Don't smoke weed or do drugs. Don't mess with the police officer. He's only doing his job.
Yeah, there's a lot of great messages there, and they basically got ruined.
Yeah, no. All the what this whole bullshit that occurred for the past couple of years, needless to say, tarnished his image. And this was years of work that he did in the entertainment world.
Oh yeah,
From his comedy routines, his comedy shows, albums, the movies he did with Sidney Poitier. Remember Uptown Saturday Night, the sequel, Let's Do It Again.
yeah,
Some of the ones he did in the 80s, like Ghost Dad, Leonard Part 6, they were bombs. But at the same time, he did massive amounts of work. All that tarnished for life by this one fetish that he supposedly had. Or something that I said many times he should have at least got help for. Because Jesus, man, you were the one true role model for everybody, not
Yeah.
just black males, black people out there, but white
African
people
American
as well.
males. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely, he was a role model. If I was in that position, I would do everything I can to keep my ass in check 24/7.
yeah.
Because especially nowadays, when the whole world is watching you, not just tabloid magazines, but people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and such. Think about that. It's true, absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, a couple other people I'll just kind of mention if you want to talk about them a little bit. Great, if
All
not,
right.
eh.
Yeah.
Margaret Cho.
Margaret Cho, yeah. I don't we haven't really had any, so we have watched some of her stuff there. When I first got a look at her, like she's a cute little gal there doing stand up there. Rose, in fact, I think wasn't she sponsored by Shirley Bass? What's her name? Shirley, what's her face there? The waitress at Ron's place and on the sitcom What's Happening?
Oh, y'all are going way back.
Oh yeah, we going way back there.
Yeah, but that's the good days, bro. That's man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to watch a lot of comedy sitcoms all the time. Whether it's Sanford and Son, What's Happening, there were shows like Newhart, Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh,
You know,
Newhart was a classic. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Bob Newhart, and we cannot forget the routine that I guess Rob, what's his name? Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks
Oh, yeah.
did the
Yeah,
10,000 Year Old Man. I think it was called.
yeah.
Man, that's just something there.
And you also
Yeah.
had Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Lot-
Ken's
lots-
favorite over there.
Oh,
It's Ken's
yeah,
favorite.
no-
It's his guy.
Yeah, and I guess the Super Ugly Show's favorite as well there, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
of
the
course,
guy did some things that were, to me, incredibly funny.
yeah, but the people were so busy paying attention to the remarks towards women, to even see through that. They didn't want to see through the way he spoke about women as hoes and everything else. But then again, you got to remember he was on a talk show and explained that all was going on around him. Remember, you learn from what you see, folks.
Well, a lot of times it's his routines too. I mean, it's part of who he is. Uh, When I say he is as a routine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the whole. It's like the screaming bit he did. It was part of his act,
Hmm. of course, Sam Kinison, I guess he had some issues with Andrew Dice Clay because, he said, Andrew Dice, he stole some of my jokes. And he was another one who had a interesting routine, that scream he used to do during
Yeah,
his live performances.
yeah,
And also the albums he'd
That's
come
that
out.
Joe Cronin type shit, bro.
Exactly.
What are you doing after the show?
I know, yeah, I remember that there. And so what's kind of funny, Sam Kinison also had a rock music career when you look up at it. The
yeah.
cover version of Wild Thing with some of the lyrics changed over. He did the same with Mississippi Queen, the Mountain Classic. And he had an album called it was Portrait of the Damned, where he was like it was so side one was a comedy routine, and side two was all basically cover tunes of songs like "Gonna Raise Hell" by Cheap Trick, and Mississippi Queen was
I
another one that I mentioned.
I'm trying to remember which video it was, but he had a video that had Jessica Hahn in it.
Oh yeah, I think that may have been a Wild Thing. I think
Cause
they were romantic. Yeah, I think they were romantically involved at one point, if I'm correct.
yeah, I remember her rolling all over the place in that video, and I'm sitting there going, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's to say that he grew up in a Christian family, so deep down inside he may have been a Christian, but the comedy routine that he would do was his way of letting out all whatever frustrations, whatever issues he had with this woman or this incident or that there, you know. But the problem is, he also had a drug issue along it just as
Yeah,
well there. I guess he finally beat that before his death in '92 there.
yeah, yeah. And of course, there's the man that gets no respect.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, there's a couple of
Rapping
YouTube.
Rodney. Remember the video for Rapping Rodney?
No.
I saw that video there. It was the kind of funny thing. He came up with little words, and verses like, I called the suicide hotline. They put me on hold.
Yeah, yeah. Well, his whole routine was basically a rap. If you really think about it, I mean, it's just one liner after one liner after one liner after one liner.
Absolutely. Don Rickles, he was a good one there. Remember his show CPO Sharky
I
on
loved that
TV?
show.
I loved the hell out of that show. I was bad. It was sad to see that go. Another TV show I used to watch, Chico and the Man, with the late Freddie Prinze Sr.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, that show was canceled for, you know.
The tragic reason there.
Yeah,
Freddie Prinze Sr. Or Freddie Prinze, as back then, before his son Junior would come into merge.
yeah. And
He would
I
he
know
shot himself for some reason.
Rodney Dangerfield had a couple of 3 movies too. And I remember, well, I vividly remember one called Easy Money where he had to.
Yeah, so I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's obviously Caddyshack, and then wasn't there one called Ladybug or something? Ladybug?
I think so, yeah.
But his
those
biggest
movies-
one was. Go ahead.
I was going to say his movies were basically one-liners, but they were fun.
Yeah, but his big one was Back to School back in 1986 there,
Yeah,
and along with his cover of Twist and Shout. It's kind of funny is that song had a massive re-emergence on the charts because of that movie, as well as the Beatles version being in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
yeah. A lot of people don't know the original, which I think was the Isley Brothers.
Yes, it was the Isley Brothers. I remember hearing that at one time, a couple of times in the past there.
But I don't know what kind of person I am for thinking of this. But in Easy Money, the scene most memorable to me was when he goes out in his balcony or whatever and was able to see his next door neighbor, which is, if you know who she is, Kimberly MacArthur, sunbathing nude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because she's massively endowed, let's say.
Wow, I see there. Yeah. Sadly, and Rodney no longer with us, unfortunately. There. What year did he pass away? I think it was.
I honestly don't know.
I think in the Keith, can you look that up real quick? It's
Yes.
the last 20 years for sure.
Yes. Okay, look what up.
Yeah. Go ahead there.
Hello?
He's asking what to
Look
look up.
what up.
Yeah. The year that
Rodney Dangerfield died.
yes.
Oh, okay.
There's some real memorable stuff on YouTube with him on the Johnny Carson show too, where
Absolutely.
he just keeps going and going on Johnny, and Johnny just it's like wow.
Wow, dude.
October 5th, 2004.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, man. Wow. He was another one that will be missed there. I think I said that before, but still, it's no doubt about that.
Well, another guy that's kind of fun to watch, especially if you can catch some of his stand-up stuff, because he has help, is Jeff Dunham.
Oh, I remember my ex-girlfriend told me about this guy. He's a ventriloquist.
Yeah,
If I said, did I say that right there?
ventriloquist.
Yes, thank you. I have my pronunciation is like at the times there. He kind of like picked up where Edgar Bergen left off when it needed to
Yeah,
stay
I
there
mean, he's
from many
got-
years ago there.
Standard characters, and I think most people's favorite is Walter.
I am.
If you're
The other
familiar with
one-
Walter, or if you're
I've
familiar
heard
with
of Walter. Yeah. Yes, I have seen Walter a couple of times. His other one would have to be Akim. What's his
Yeah,
name?
the terrorist,
Akim?
Ahmed,
Yeah,
the dead terrorist.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Silent, I kill you.
Yeah.
That was one of his favorite one-liners.
But Walter's kind of like the
Grumpy.
the grumpy old grandfather you used to have.
Yeah, exactly. Grumping over everything in sight there.
Yeah. And he's a lot of fun because you can just sit there and kind of watch him go. Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely. And there were a lot of grumpy people, grumpy old people in one of the neighborhoods we lived in, I remember. So I think it may have been in Roseville where we lived in. There was this couple old cats there who was grumpy as hell over everything there. It's like, screw this guy there.
Yeah.
Joe Cronin used to have a guy on his show called Grumpy Nerdy. Not
Grumpy
to be
nerd.
confused
Grumpy
with
nerd.
Nerdy.
The grumpy nerd. Yes, I remember him.
Yep.
I wonder how he's doing because the last time I heard of him was on Ken's program a couple years back. He was asking about the T-shirt that I was wearing at that time.
Yep. I didn't really like him on the show.
Yeah, I remember that montage this 161 where him and Skunty there went off on one another, back and forth there.
Oh, all right.
Yep. He was also eager to meet this Scott guy, and all of a sudden he's like, "Fuck this son of a bitch."
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Absolutely. That's when JB first retired from that show as a result of Skunty there.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
I guess JB is not really back in the mainstream yet.
No, I
No.
guess not. I'm not sure. We missed the guy. He was, during my moments of unemployment, I would listen to his afternoon show, see what kind of bullshit. Yeah.
So he was in the mix, JB, like a couple months ago because Joe paid him like $300,
Yes, I remember for that episode of Monetize This.
and like I think he was on for one more, and then we haven't heard from him since. I think maybe that was in the summertime or some shit. But
Yeah, I guess. So I understand as well that him and Joe were supposed to do some shows together, but Joe had made this announcement that things weren't working out. So that's that, And
yeah,
I guess
remember he tweeted
JB was
out,
like, "Fuck
he
this."
tweeted out like, "Oh, no more JB." The numbers have he was expecting the numbers to get bigger, but they weren't when JB was there. Like
I
I don't know
know.
if it was working or like working us or whatever, Joe. But anyways, back to the.
But then again, you know how Joe is. He's likes to so-called work us. By the way.
Yeah.
And by the way, you saw that little screenshot I sent you last night, wire of him blocking me. Joe Cronin, that is. Crony, as I'll call him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
Okay, another guy that's interesting to talk about is Bill Engvall.
Bill Engvall. I remember
Here's your
hearing this name.
sign.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. He talks about things stupid people do, and then they call him on it and said, "Here's your sign." That way,
Hmm.
stupid people are supposed to be carrying a sign around.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see what you're talking about. I'm was stupid and pointed at themselves there.
Yeah,
We also got to. Speaking of which, we got to include Jeff Foxworthy,
oh yeah,
Larry the Cable Guy, Ron White. I remember they had Blue Collar TV running on TV for a while there.
yeah,
I remember Jeff Foxworthy from that TV show. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah, that was that game show that he was a
They
host
got
of.
real big, like in
Yeah.
in 2000s, mid 2000s when they toured together.
Yeah.
White, remember him?
Yes.
That was my favorite out of the whole bunch, personally. But
which one?
Larry
I
the
didn't
Cable,
hear you.
Larry the Cable Guy. When
Oh
I
yeah,
lived in Richmond, the term "get her done" was used a lot around the area there.
yeah. All those guys had a catchphrase of some sort. Jeff
And we
Foxworthy,
put
you might be a redneck. Yeah,
if, and we know
Okay. Uh,
absolutely there.
and Ron White talked about.
Alcohol.
No, they call me tater salad.
Oh my gosh, I
Uh,
remember that because a lot of times he would talk about being drunk, and that's when he was used that word. When they use those two words, they call me tater salad. I
yeah,
guess the whole thing was.
yeah. That was a pretty good routine. No,
Okay,
that
tater
that
salad. If you had a son, what was you going to name him? Tater tot?
yeah, yeah. No, they were that whole thing was funny. I mean, there was another guy on there too, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Neither am I. Neither can I either.
But they had a fourth guy. I just can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I was there. I'll probably look it up there. We also got to acknowledge Sinbad
Yeah,
because he was a good comedian. I remember seeing one of his TV shows back in the night. I was blah blah. Hold up there. I remember. There we go. It's coming up there. Sinbad. I saw at HBO special on it. He did a lot of good stuff there. It was a pretty good stuff there. When you look at it.
yeah.
Yeah. Bill Engvall that you mentioned, he was the fourth man in that whole lineup there.
Well, no, I was thinking of him. It was another guy. Because Ron White and Larry the Cable Guy, I don't think we're ever on together. I think Ron White was on first, and then Larry the Cable Guy replaced him. But there used to be a
All
group
right.
of four, I think it was, and I cannot remember
Yes,
who the
I
fourth one
remember.
was.
I'm looking on the Wikipedia right now. It's popping up pretty soon there.
with Larry the Cable Guy, I
Yes.
love that thing. I love that bit he did about Walmart.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I remember the other cable guy. One of his big phrases was "Lord, I apologize."
yeah,
He did that a lot of times there. Let's see. It was created by Fax Barr and Adam Small, in addition to J.P. Williams and Jeff Foxworthy himself. Blue collar is a U.S. phrase to describe manual laborers, as opposed to white collar or office professional
Right.
workers. Yeah.
but don't they tell who was on that?
Well, it started, Foxworthy, Engvall, Larry the Cable Guy. The show's humor dealt primarily with contemporary American society and especially hillbilly, redneck, and southern stereotypes. It was
Right.
greenlighted on the heels of the success of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, which all three actors toured in the early 2000s.
For some reason, I had a fourth guy involved, but I guess I was wrong.
I am. Who knows? I'm still looking for it. There's so many other actors included there. Well, let's see. There was we know Foxworthy, Cable Guy, Engvall. They also included Brooke Dillman, Ashley Drain, Ada Field, Heath. Can't pronounce his name. Hyche, Peter Oldring, Gary Anthony Williams, and Scott Miller, and the Commonwealth, the house band.
I don't
It was a
remember any
band
of those
that
other
did
people.
Neither did I. I hardly watched it myself. I
I
wasn't
watched
that
it a
much of a
lot,
TV.
but I don't remember those other guys.
There. I remember around the time I wasn't really paying attention to TV. I was always out doing things, going
Right,
places. You
right.
know, yeah. You know.
Well, another comedy troupe that
Oh, I
it
wasn't done with
that
Sinbad yet. I got to mention him. He also was. First time I heard of him was on the Bill Cosby show spinoff, A Different World, which briefly started Lisa Bonet, and later on Kadeem Harrison, who played Dwayne Wayne, who later did some other movies, like a couple of Winans parody movies there, like I'm Going to Get You Sucker from '87. Remember that one there?
yeah.
Keenan Ivory Wymans, we got to acknowledge him as well. The comedy movies that he did, spoofing, scary movies, 1, 2, 3, I'm Going to Get You Sucker, and a few others there. Tyler Perry, some of his comedy movies there with a little bit of drama on the side include, one and only Medea.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
And he also spawned a couple of TV shows as well, like House of Pain, Meet the Browns.
yeah.
I remember seeing a couple of those when I was with my ex-girlfriend back in Detroit around the 2011, 2012 there.
What do you guys think of Sebastian Maniscalco?
I don't think I've heard of them.
He's a relatively new comedian. I like him a lot. He's a stand-up comedian. He's like,
I haven't really paid too much to the new comedy that's really out there.
Not yet,
Uh,
anyway.
Yeah.
The next troupe I was going to mention was a comedy team called the Firesign Theater.
Oh my goodness, I had a lot of their albums.
Waiting for the Electrician or Someone Like Him. Don't Crush
How
That
Can You
Dwarf. Hand Me the Pliers.
Hand Me the Pliers? That was my favorite from them.
Oh, wow.
I think we're all bozos on this bus. Not Insane, which was a collection of live recordings that they did for various performances
I think
at
he broke
various
the
colleges.
president.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, Dear Friends, which was bits and skits from a couple radio shows that they did at that time as well there. And of course, we cannot, the one I was going to mention, what was it called? Oh, yeah. How can you be at two places at the same time when you're not going anywhere? Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's what
Which
we
one of
heard
those had Nick
skit.
Danger on it? That was a good
Yeah,
skit.
the one I just meant, the one I just mentioned.
That was a great skit.
It was, yeah. And sadly, two of the members are no longer with us there. I think it was Phil Lawson. And I guess it may have been also David. Well, I think the ones that are left are Phil Proctor and David Osmond. I think Peter Bergman is no longer with us. Correct.
Yeah.
As well as Phil Lawson.
But they had, I think, like 20 albums or more. Oh,
A lot of albums.
The Giant Rat of Sumatra.
Oh, yeah.
whoa. Dr. Earl, you look good with your haircut.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Were you watching some of my videos there?
No, I was just looking at some thumbnails.
All right, there. Oh, well, I see on my channel there. I see what you're talking about there.
Yes.
Yeah, that the lady at the shop there last week there, she went a little bit too far, I guess, unfortunately there. So for the time being, I was just like slicking it back until some of it grows out a little bit there. It's going to be like taking time there. I cut it because it was interfering with my job, which is in the dairy cooler most of the time. It was getting in my eyes and everything.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But as I mentioned, I'm sticking it back for the time being there.
All right.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you got Bill Hicks.
Oh yeah, I've heard about him as well. There,
Yeah.
he's deceased as well, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because I remember there was a documentary on him on Comedy Central, and I guess they were interviewing everybody from fellow comedians, including David Letterman, just as well. There was a little situation between those two.
Yeah. And of course, there's Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, who I understand was in The Mandalorian on a couple episodes.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. He's funny too.
Hmm. Now, wasn't Joe Rogan a comedian just as well, if I'm correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about that a couple times on the various shows there. I think Crony may have been mentioning that a couple here and there.
Then, of
True.
course, we got to mention the famous guy who thought he was a wrestler, Andy Kaufman.
Oh,
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Andy Kaufman. We definitely got to acknowledge him because before Cyndi Lauper put wrestling in the mainstream, Andy Kaufman, comedian and star of the show Taxi, he was involved with the Memphis territory wrestling in an on-screen feud with Jerry the King Lawler, taking side with Jimmy Hart before he joined the WWF and became the mouth of the South there. And it's like, he was like one of the big heels at that time there. In fact, there was an incident where Lawler and Kaufman were on the Letterman show, and Kaufman was just running his mouth here and there and here, and Lawler just came up to smack the hell out of him. Bam.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
y'all were. I don't. I'm not. This is no
Teenagers.
yeah, this is no disrespect to y'all, but like y'all were watching this live, right?
This
on
is
TV
true.
when this was happening.
Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
was.
Yeah, that was one of the best angles, most believable angles ever. I mean,
Yes, in
You-
the pro
you
wrestling
bought it.
spectrum.
a lot of the stuff you see
Right.
nowadays you don't buy. You just watching.
Because it's all
you
been
kinda-
because it's all been exposed. We all know it's fake. We all know kayfabe is dead. And
Right.
that. Yeah.
But it was a lot more fun sometimes back then when you saw some of this stuff and you saw some of the things going on, and you were like, if this is,
Damn. Holy cow, bro.
if this is not real, they're doing a pretty good
They
job.
sure did a damn good job making it look real, that's for sure.
Especially the Kaufman Lawler thing. That was just
Oh,
incredible.
Beyond incredible. In fact, you remember the movie Man on the Moon,
Yeah.
which starred Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman? Jim Carrey actually got injured during when he was filming this scene where Kaufman and Laura was in a wrestling match together. And I guess, Carrey ended up with some neck issues, I guess, after that, because I guess Laura went a little too far. I guess if I understand, the memories of Kaufman were coming back to him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't want to piss off a pro wrestler, man. You
Oh,
don't.
No. Fake or
No.
not, those guys are built right. They have to be.
Absolutely. To take all those poundings on the cabas.
Yeah.
Just ask John Stossel on what happened to him back in 1985 when he tried to expose the business. Oh, it's on YouTube, folks. Whap!
Yeah.
I'll give you that's a clue right there, man.
Yeah. Does this sound fake to you?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know that. Well, the other thing about Kaufman you mentioned too was he was Latka Grabas on Taxi and was very good at that.
Absolutely. He was one of the most memorable actors next to Tony Danza and Danny DeVito. Mary
To
Lou
me,
Henner.
the most memorable guy on that show was Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, I was going
I
to
loved
say, he was
Reverend
part
Jim.
of that show. Yes, absolutely there.
Reverend Jim, that was just a great bit. I think my favorite was when he was taking his driver's test,
Wow.
and they all went with him. And he's you can look it up on YouTube. But he's sitting up there, and he asked him, what does the yellow light mean? And they look at him and goes, slow down. He sits there for a second and goes, what does a yellow light mean? And they say, slow down, slow down. And he goes, what does a yellow light mean?
Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, the whole bit is just hilarious when you watch him in character doing that.
Oh my gosh. For some reason, that when I can imagine Bullfrog taking his very first driving lesson and doing exactly that. Oh my gosh.
But that's possibly one of my favorite taxi bits is that driver's test scene. Because there's more to it, but that particular part of it I remembered because that was just, to me, just absolutely drop dead hilarious.
Oh yeah. We also got acknowledge a couple of my favorites there. Red Fox and Richard Pryor.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Red Fox was a comedian in his own right when he was not doing shows.
Wait
like
a minute,
Sanford
like
and Son.
let me interrupt you real quick. Weren't they? When you consider Red Fox, your Richard Pryor's maybe the first? I don't want to say first comedians, but just I don't know, maybe the first mainstream comedians, or like what? Maybe they start at all? Like who? Do y'all know the answer to that? Like
I don't really know who started it all, to be honest with you. I didn't. But there were comedians back in the 19s that were making movies and not albums, basically. We're talking about people like Laurel and Hardy, W.C. Fields, my favorites, the Three Stooges. You know, that was going back to the 30s and 40s there. You know, there were a lot of interesting. And we also cannot forget Charlie Chaplin. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the first really on-screen comedians at that time to really break it big.
Yeah.
And he also had a little bit of shadiness to himself. He had married, a couple of underage girls when he was in his prime there.
Yep. Of course, you got Eddie Murphy. You can name him with Pryor and Fox.
Oh yeah, the show Delirious that aired on HBO. A lot of, the material from that album came out on the release entitled Eddie Murphy Comedian. And a lot of that was when we first heard about the gay uproar because of some of the gay jokes that were mentioned on that TV special there. He mentioned in a movie called Raw, which was another comic live performance, that you remember Delirious? People go, yeah. So many people were coming at me left and right because of the homosexual jokes that I was making. I would go to a club and all the gay people giving him the evil eye there, here, there.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that at concerts, the audience should not sing along with the songs?
No, they should.
Okay.
Are we in music now?
I was going to ask.
Oh, I don't know. You said something that made me think of that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it was.
That's okay.
But it was something I heard on NPR too. I think the other day.
Oh. Everybody should has the right to sing along to whichever song is being played on, whether it's live or recording or whichever there.
All right.
Hell, I remember one time there. We was at a place called Clutch Cargoes when it was called Industry, waiting for a band called Pigface to perform. And for some reason, when they played the song NWO by Ministry, everybody started moshing. It started stage diving for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
And this was way before the band even showed up to play.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we mentioned him a while ago because he had two highly successful television shows and one pretty decent one. Bob Newhart, he also had some comedy albums.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing those. He was on the same label as Bill Cosby was, Warner Brothers at that time.
Yeah. And as far as the Newhart shows go, I don't know how
Mhm.
you would rank them because, well, all three of them were pretty good. The third one just didn't play more than a year.
I know he was like a mainstay at CBS television for many years.
And he was on the Big Bang Theory for a little while,
Yeah, yeah.
which was kind of weird.
But then again,
But he played
when,
himself, which is what made it funny.
absolutely, yeah. One episode I want to check out when that show is when you have both Carrie Fisher and James Earl Jones, and it's going to be billed as Princess Leia and Darth Vader.
Yeah, yeah. I actually saw that episode.
Yeah, very
The the
interesting there.
the nerdy one, the Sheldon
Yes,
wanted to meet James Earl Jones because
he was
of
the voice of
course,
Darth Vader, obviously there.
you know,
But
and
let's not forget the other stuff he's did other than that.
well, yeah,
He
but
was in Roots. He was in A Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell in the '80s. There, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
of course, the whole bit was, he was bugging him. He finally went to the restaurant, and James Earl Jones looked at him and says, "You don't." I forget the exact line, but it's
Oh,
something like, "You like Star Wars, don't you?" or something like that, because he was acting the part of a
Darth Vader.
don't bug me while I'm eating. And of
Oh
course,
yeah.
Sheldon stands there and he either shakes his head or says or whatever. And James Earl Jones says, "Well, I like Star Wars too. Have a seat." And the rest of the episode is about the two of them kind of palling around a little bit,
I see
which
there.
is
Yeah.
pretty kind of funny. But the way uh, Jamie Lee Curtis comes into it, not
Oh
Jamie
wow.
Lee Curtis,
Carrie
Carrie
Fisher.
Fisher comes into it. Sorry, they look alike, kind of. But anyway, the way she comes into it is James Earl Jones takes him and says, "You want to have some fun? Go watch this." And they go to her house, knock on the door, and run.
Hmm.
And she comes running out, and she's stalling about, "Is that you, James?" or something like that. I know that's you. Quit doing that, or something like that.
Oh man.
But it's actually a pretty
Gosh.
funny episode. I don't know if that's a show you normally watch or not.
I saw a highlight of it on YouTube there.
But that's a pretty funny episode, actually.
It is. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. You are indeed missed by everybody around you,
Yeah,
including us. She was
yeah,
one of the first princesses, to not be one of those damsels in distress. Oh, help me, please save me from the bad guy. She would take up a few blasters and shoot the shit out of those Imperial troopers,
yeah.
as the stormtroopers just as well there.
And of course, who could forget her on the Jabba the Hutt scene where she was in
Oh
the
my gosh, that golden bikini, man.
yeah,
That's still talked about today and still cosplayed. All the female cosplayers often love doing that. That's for sure there.
yeah. That's definitely a memorable scene. What can we say?
Yeah, it was there, yes. All right there. So I
Cool.
think we have pretty much wrapped it up for the time being there.
Well,
I
I had a
think
few more,
unless
but we can get
anybody
them. We can do a
what
part
again?
two, I suppose.
If you was to, we could probably do that this I think Wire, you mentioned about doing something on the next show. I guess it was
Well, it's,
concert festivals.
yeah, we can either do that Thursday or wait till Monday. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, there. What would you prefer, Wire? Doing a part two of our comedy series there, or just to get to the festivals, rock festivals on that